All right, let's just jump right in, shall we? You know how it is. You're scrolling online and you're just drowning in this sea of health advice, miracle diets, breakthrough cures. But seriously, how much of it can you actually trust? Today, we're going to build a toolkit to help you navigate this incredibly confusing world.
And this is the big question, right? Is what you're reading a miracle cure, or is it a dangerous myth? It's wild to think that one click could point you toward life-saving advice, while the very next one, well, it could send you down a really dangerous rabbit hole. The stakes are just so high when it comes to our health.
And in this age of viral content, telling the difference is a critical skill. I mean, it's amazing that we have all this information at our fingertips, but it also means that stuff, sometimes really bad stuff, can spread like wildfire. Being able to tell what's real and what's not, well, it's not just a handy skill anymore. It's absolutely essential for our well-being.
So, let's start by looking at the big picture. Why does it feel like we're just caught in this constant information flood?
Well, this right here is a huge clue. A 2024 report from the International Panel on the Information Environment found that experts are most worried about social media platforms. And it makes sense, right? Their whole game is engagement, getting you to click, to share, to comment. And what gets the most engagement? Often it's the shocking, the outrageous stuff, even if it's totally false. It's like a perfect storm for bad information to just explode online.
But here's a really important distinction we have to make. Not all false information is the same. There's a world of difference between a simple mistake and actual malice, and understanding that difference is key to protecting ourselves.
So first, you've got misinformation. This is basically an honest mistake. You know, like when someone you trust shares an article they genuinely thought was helpful, but it turns out to be wrong. The key thing here is there's no bad intent. It's accidental.
But then you have its much more sinister cousin, disinformation. And this is the scary stuff. This is fake information that is created and spread on purpose. Someone is actively trying to manipulate you, usually to make money or to push some kind of hidden agenda. This isn't a mistake, it's straight up deception.
So let's just break it down side by side. Misinformation, an honest mistake. Disinformation, a deliberate lie. One is accidental, the other is spread with a specific, often harmful agenda. It really all boils down to one word: intent.
Okay, so if we know all this junk is floating around out there, why are we so bad at spotting it? Why do our brains get fooled so easily? Well, it turns out we're kind of hardwired for it.
Yeah, cognitive science actually gives us a pretty clear answer. Researchers like Professor Stefan Lewandowski have spent years studying this, and what they've found is pretty fascinating. Our brains are wired to prefer simple, clean stories over complicated, messy truths. So it's not about being smart or dumb, it's just, well, it's how our brains work.
And that's why this stuff is so sticky. Think about it. False information often gives you a really simple story. It feels more certain than the complex, nuanced reality of science. It plays right into our biggest hopes and our deepest fears. And here's the kicker. Once we believe something, it is so hard to let go. Our brains actually fight to hang on to that belief.
All right, so we get the problem, and we know why our brains are vulnerable. So what do we do about it? Let's talk strategy. It's time to build your own personal misinformation detection kit.
And it's not as complicated as you might think. We're going to use a super simple 3-step mental checklist. It's built on everything we've just talked about: figuring out the intent, checking the platform, and questioning the agenda.
Step 1. Identify the intent. Just ask yourself, does this feel like an honest mistake? Misinformation? Or does it feel like someone is trying to pull a fast one with crazy promises or super dramatic language? That's your first filter: accident or deception. Step 2. Scrutinize the platform. Where are you actually seeing this? Is it from a source you know and trust, or did it just show up in your social media feed? Remember what that IP report warned us about. Social media can be the Wild West when it comes to facts.
And step 3, question the agenda. You've got to ask that classic question, cui bono, which is just a fancy way of saying, who benefits? Is someone trying to sell you something? Are they trying to get clicks for ad money? If you follow the money, you can often sniff out the hidden agenda behind disinformation.
Okay, so now you've got the toolkit. But what about the really hard part? What happens when you use this kit and you realize that something you believe is wrong?
Yeah, this is like the final boss battle of critical thinking. Cognitive scientists have shown that it's incredibly difficult for us to change our minds, even when we see solid proof that we're wrong. Our first beliefs are just stubborn. But admitting we were mistaken, that's one of the most important things we can do to get closer to the truth.
And that brings me to this final point. Look, the goal here isn't to be perfect. It's not about never being wrong. We're all going to get it wrong sometimes. The real goal is just to get better at asking questions and better at finding the truth.
So I want to leave you with one last question to chew on. What's one health idea you currently believe that, maybe, is worth taking a second look at? Just one. Because putting that one idea through our little 3-step checklist, that's how we start making things better.